Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, folks, we look at inequalities today. Inequalities, how we represent them on the number line. It's a nice, lovely template I found on the internet, and I'm using that now in my paint program. Okay, can you just read out to me the question I've asked you to do? Which ones are they? Question A. Question A looks like this. Okay, right. I'm going to use a nice big red blobby. Okay, if we get a red. And the red one, okay, let's get the brush. So you can have the questions done in different ways. The question can be done on the line as you see the one in the sheet in front of you, or they can be above the line, okay? I'm going to use the on the line one. Are we all looking at the same page? Are we looking at the same page, yeah? So question 1A looks like this for my student. Nice big blob here, followed by, okay, followed by that. Okay, followed by an arrow going along that direction. Now, what is that? So we've been told to say the right and inequality for this one. So what we say now, if we have a solid blob, solid circle, that means that 3 is part of the answer. This here, this line here represents the x-axis. Okay, so this line represents the x-axis. So we say the inequality is x is greater than or equal to 3 is our solution. Now what does that mean? That means anything which is 3, look over here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're talking about integer values here, up to infinity, okay, is a part of our solution set. So that means 3 is, so we could say our solution set includes 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 all the way up to the biggest number, infinity. Okay, that's what that inequality means. The next question I gave you was? The next one? Question D. Question D now, right, okay. Question D starts with the start of 4. Yeah, the one I gave you, question D starts at 4 now. Question D, you know, the actual circle of 4. Okay, so question D, we now have a, do we have a solid circle or a empty circle? An empty circle. Okay, right, okay. So in this particular inequality here, we have again x. Now it is 4 part of the solution. 4 is not part of the solution. So why? Because we have an empty circle. So the empty circle means that even though the circle's at 4, it means everything which is not all the solutions in the positive x direction, but not including 4. So the first solution for that would be 5, 6, and up to infinity. So 4 is not part of our answer. So we use the inequality sign over here. Look over here. X is greater than 4. And the best way to think about that is this. If you ask somebody, sir, how many toasts would you like? I'll say I would like to have more than 4 toasts. Can you give me 4? No. Okay. If somebody, you go to buy a car and they go, yes, I want more than £4,000. That means £4,000 not a part of it. He doesn't accept that. So it's going to be anything more than 4,000, or in this case, anything more than 4. So we use the inequality sign here. I'll use a different color. So we just use inequality sign greater than but not equal to. That one means greater than or equal to. Okay, lovely. What's the next one? It was I. Okay. So I we have is, oh, okay, let's have a look. Now they've got it between 1 and 2. That's a bit close on my diagram. I'm just going to change it a bit, okay? I'm just going to change that one a bit to make it look a bit more visual on the diagram. And I'm just going to change it a bit. I'm going to put it from here. And I want to put it to here. So you just adjust yours accordingly. Lovely. Okay, now we have 2 solid dots. Now these are circles. Mine look a bit more. Okay. The circle starts at -3 and goes to 5. Now, this means -3 is part of my answer. Everything bigger Plus 5 is part of my answer and everything smaller. So how do we sort that out? So we have to say x is greater than minus 3. Look over here now. X is greater than or equal to minus 3. That describes which part? Look at the curse. That describes this part. I need to describe this part now. At the end of the dumbbell, plus 5. But x must be less than or equal to 5. So we now have a double inequality. So that means that x must lie between those two values, and those two values are part of our solution set. Are we happy with that? Okay. Now let's have a look if we had to write out our solutions. So the examiner says to you, this is the inequality, write out your solutions. So we can say x can be equal to what? Can x be equal to minus 3? Yes, because we've got a solid circle there. So x can be minus 3. Can it be minus 2? Yes. Minus 1? 0? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. What about 5? Is 5 part of the solution? Yes, because it's solid. The solid circle indicates that that number is part of the answer. An empty circle indicates that number is not part of the answer. So we must include 5. So this here is our solution set to the inequality. This is all the integer values that x can take. Okay, here comes the next one. Okay, let's have... okay, I'm going to make mono one up here. This one again. Just follow me on this one, please. I'm just improvising a bit. This one. Okay, up to here. Oh, is that going to supposed to be the other way around? Okay, that's better. That's lovely. Okay. Now here we go. So for this one, the big empty circles are minus 1 and the big empty circles are plus 4. So it's a bound inequality. So we're gonna it's gonna be two-part like this. Now, this top inequality can also be written the other way around. So you could also write it as x is greater than minus 3 and x is less than 1.5. So this is also another way of writing this inequality. So you can write it with the arrows facing the other way instead, and it means the same. Why? Because it's to do with the way you read the inequality. So let's go to that once more. So if I look at this inequality here, okay, this one here, what does it read? Look, watch this. Okay, let me change the red color, sorry, to a purple. I'm going to be out now. This reads x, start from here, look, x is greater than or equal to minus 3. This describes this part of the inequality going that way. Now, watch here again. Start back from here. X, read it this way now. Read the x is less than or equal to 5, which is describing this part of the inequality. So when you read the inequality, you start from the middle and you read to the right and you read to the left. That's the correct way of reading the inequality, and that will make sure that you understand the inequality properly. Right, let's move on to the green inequality at the bottom over here. Now, what do we have here? So we have minus 1 and 4. So we start with x. Now, which one is greater than? X is greater than minus 1. So that goes here. X is greater than minus 1. Okay, now, what's happening here? The plus 4. X must be less than 4. So we go back to the inequality. So we have to also say that x must be less than 4. And that is our inequality. Now, if we were asked what is the solution set, the solution set would be everything in between those numbers, but not including those numbers. So we can say x is equal to, if minus 1 is not included, the next one is 0, 1, 2, 3, but not including 4. Okay, are we happy with that? Here the minus 1 and 4 is everything up to minus 1, sorry, everything greater than -1 and everything less than 4, but those two numbers are not included in our solution set. Okay, are we happy with how we read this inequality? We start from here. X is greater than -1 indicates this part here. We read from here. X is less than 4, which is everything from here, this side. So they have them overlapping. So it's that region. Are we happy with that? Now what happens if we have one of each? So I haven't done that one yet. Let's do that one next. Let's choose something from here. Let's have a solid one here. Solid one here, and let's have a empty one here. Okay. Move out of the way. Can you see that? Sorry about that. I should have got my head in the way. Can you see that now? Copy that down. Now you got one solid, one empty. So that's not a problem. We should be able to do that as well, inshallah. So let's read the inequality. Are we happy? Let's try and read inequality. Why we have got different colors? What's happened there? Excuse me. I think something's gone a little bit wrong. Give me a moment. Okay, right. I think something went wrong there. Right, there we go. So we say, if I get my purple, now we're starting at the 3, -3. It says everything which is -3 and more. So back to here to our inequality. So x must be greater than or equal to -3. That explains what we just did here. Look here. From here to there. Start at -3. Okay. -3 and more. So that's talking about everything that's going in this direction here, up to there. Now, let's look at the other one now. From what is this? +2. And we're going that way now. So we say everything which is less than 2. Yes? Less than 2 is 2 part of the solution. Okay, we have an empty circle and 2 part of the solution. No. So that's why here in the inequality, we have no equal to. So that this is saying, if I look at the explain to you again, this is saying that x is greater than or equal to -3, but it must be less than 2. Okay, so we read that way. So it's between those two values. One of the numbers is included in the answer, the other one's not. So let's have a quick look at the solution set for that question. So let's have a look what we have here. So x would be equal to, is -3 part of the answer? Yes, of course it is. Is -2? -1, 0, 1. What about 2? Is 2 part of the answer? 2 is not part of the answer because 2 is an empty circle. That means it's not included. So this is our solution set for x. The -3 is included because it's a solid circle here on the inequality line. But the 2 is not included because that's an empty circle. So everything below that. Are we happy with that? So today's lesson, we're looking at how to understand and read inequalities from the number line. Okay, we haven't started drawing them yet, but we're just writing them in a moment. Okay, for some reason we don't have a title. Inequalities. Okay, and this is what we're doing here. We are interpreting them. Okay, alright. Right, that's the end of our short video. We're actually supposed to be short, so it ends up 14 minutes long. Okay, are we happy with that? I'm going to give you some questions to do now. Okay, shall I actually show you the questions?